Hi, welcome back to Auxhart Gardening. This week is the last week you will see the garden like this. Starting tomorrow, I will be amending the garden, putting new mulch, and planting something brand new, which I can't wait to show you guys, but you're gonna have to wait for the video to come out. And the spring is starting. It's only a couple of weeks until our last estimated frost date, although it was 37 last night and it's still pretty chilly out today, but it's supposed to get all the way up to 70. So this is the time of year that we're having these intense temperature swings, and definitely it would not be okay to put tomatoes out right now, but very soon. It is, however, the time to start hardening off those tomatoes, get them ready to go outside, get them used to a little bit of a temperature swing, get them used to some actual sunlight, things like that. I am actually pretty cold. I knew that it was chilly out here, but man, I kind of hoped in the sun it would be a little warmer than this. But since it did not get below freezing, the plants are looking absolutely fine. Fava beans, they've been growing actually super well this week and putting on flowers because it's been warm, and you can see all these little babies that I replanted in the empty spots. They're all looking really good. If we come down to the end here where the biggest ones are, this is why I put up the trellis in the first place. Like, I know all winter they've been here under this trellis, and you've probably been wondering why. It's because they get tall like this, and they're supposed to get even taller. I don't see any beans yet, but with all these flowers, and when it warms up, the bees will be out here. I think we'll be seeing bean pods very soon. So the other day, I actually went through the garden and picked one single serving salad. It was like 2 leaves from everything that I have, but I did get a salad out of it. I picked a few leaves off of the spinach. Now, they got a lot of holes in them, but they're perfectly fine for eating. They're just not as pretty. This spinach isn't quite as eaten up. It's got a few leaves that are looking nice. I pulled a couple of leaves off of this red lettuce. And then there's nothing really in here until you get to this guy, which is actually looking really quite good. Pulled a few leaves off of there. This little area right here is where I had planted carrots, and I pulled the cardboard off because I thought I saw them sprouting, but there's still only like 1 or 2 that actually came up, and it's kind of embarrassing that I still have yet to grow any carrots in this garden. I don't remember having this much trouble getting them to sprout at the previous house, but I think what I gotta do is just get finer soil to put on top. I have been being a little lazy and just kind of moving the mulch aside and exposing the soil underneath. And I think with the combination of all the cats running through the garden and just the fact that the wind blows a lot and the mulch kind of gets blown back on top of it, and maybe there's a pretty big chance that there are children running through here as well. I think I need to put fresher soil and just be better about keeping them covered. Maybe cardboard isn't good enough. Maybe I gotta get an actual plank of wood or something. But yeah, I am sad that the carrots are really just not working out. But as a lesson to you guys, like, this stuff does happen, and good gardeners who can grow pretty plants do still sometimes struggle. And I hope that you take heart in this and you see me fail at this and keep trying until I get it right. It is kind of hard to see on camera, just all of the weeds that I have here. I've been trying to pull them kind of, here and there whenever I squat down to look at stuff, but there's still a lot, and I'm hoping that all the mulch I'm going to bring in is going to curtail this issue. And you'll see this in the video when I make it, but I'm going to be laying down cardboard underneath a lot of the mulch, and I think that'll pretty much take care of like all the weeds underneath the cardboard. What's going to be the issue is the weeds that are going to be right next to plants and are not going to get covered by cardboard. So if we take a look here at the onions and garlic, in my last video the onions were not super visible, but they are coming back, and they are coming back in force. If we get up close, you can see this is thickening up this stalk here. And even though these leaves that were frost damaged still don't look great, everything else that has come up new is looking really nice. And so onions are fine. Garlic, of course, which you can see in the background over here, fine as always. I am so impressed by how thick these stalks are. And these have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the 8th leaf coming up right now. That's pretty good. With onions, I don't know about garlic, but with onions, you are looking for ideally about 13 leaves before your onion starts to bulb. So my onions have like 5 or 6 right now. It means they're I guess almost halfway there. And ideally you want that many leaves because every leaf is another layer on your onion. So even if your onions are small, they will try to bulb, but the bulbs won't be as big because there aren't as many layers to kind of puff up. We can take a quick look at these lettuces. I also pulled from these for my little salad. And every day, the difference between this one that got the protection during the quick freeze and the one that didn't becomes, it gets more and more massive of a difference. That little bit of protection, even though this one didn't die, definitely not dead. This one, obviously the happier plant. And it's getting big, honestly. It's even surprising me how fast it's growing this big. And those turnips that I thought might not come back, they have put out a few leaves. This one I'm not so sure about. This one, maybe it'll root up. Maybe. But at the very least I'll have a few turnip leaves to add to my salads. Coming down the row, this cardboard is just in the walkway to smother out some weeds, but my very sad looking turnip patch is recovering a bit. And these turnips are still going to flower, which is all I need them to do at this point. I just need them to make their little flowers and make some seeds for me. This one down here at the end actually looks really nice. I think flowers are closed because it's a little early in the morning, but this is gonna end up being really pretty. You guys have also heard me complain about how the cats have been using the garden as a litter box, and I cannot afford to get one of those motion activated sprinkler things, but I'm hoping that the new layer of mulch will really deter them because they're not going to want to dig through something really rough on their paws. And maybe by the end of the season I'll be able to afford one of the motion activated sprinkler things, but we'll see. I can't wait for these arches to actually be full of plants again. The onions right underneath them are actually some of the best looking onions in the whole place, and I'm not entirely sure why that is. They did not get any extra protection in the cold, and they definitely don't have any extra compost. However, I did grow beans on this trellis all summer, and legumes are nitrogen fixers, and so because I didn't pull out the roots of those plants, all the nitrogen that the bacteria that work with them collected from the air and put into nodules on the roots is now available in those roots. So it's possible that the onions are doing better because they have a higher supply of nitrogen than some of the other onions. For my salad, I took a single leaf off of this kale. Probably could have taken a second one, but this is looking amazing. I am just so excited to watch this little guy grow up because it's such a pretty plant. Peas have not really taken off. I think the best looking pea plant is over here. I don't know, maybe this one's taking off a little bit. This one next to it, pretty dead looking. Hi, Kata. What's up? That freeze that came through did not do any favors for my radishes, but the new ones I planted afterwards are just about to start putting on their first true leaves, and so crisis averted. I've probably said this a few times now, but radishes are a super fast root crop that you can grow. I think some of the fastest ones take like 23, 26 days from germination to harvest, and then the rest of them take probably less than 60 days. So if you are growing with children or you're just an impatient gardener, having radishes in your garden can be a really quick way to get that dopamine hit of, yeah, I grew something. Looking along this last row here, I'm probably going to pull out these cauliflowers when I go to amend, but I think I will leave the Brussels sprouts where they are. You can see they're finally getting taller. They were pretty squat plants all winter, and they're actually making pretty good Brussels sprouts for me. I think, oh yep, they definitely are going to flower like I thought last week. You can see that little tip that looks like a baby broccoli. That is how brassicas flower. And yeah, so I gotta catch these Brussels sprouts in the next couple of days before this plant goes to flower. And even though they are flowering, I will probably still leave them in the garden just until I need the space. The stuff that's going here is going to be peppers, and they don't need to go out till May. So I can leave these and watch their life cycle, maybe collect some seeds from the flowers. And just, no need to pull them out even if they're not producing Brussels sprouts. Look at this beautiful Merlot lettuce. This is the only one that I was able to cover out of the Merlot lettuces. And the color in that, oh, it's so rich and beautiful. This Brussels sprout down here at the end maybe has some of the best looking sprouts on it. Kind of looks like an actual Brussels sprout plant is supposed to look right here at the end of the season. Oh well. If you look closely at my mound here, you can see the irises that I planted are coming up. Those will probably flower within the next couple of weeks, so that's exciting. I remember my mom used to always have irises in the front garden at our house where we grew up, and it was usually by May that they were in full bloom and beautiful. And I wished that we had dug some up when we moved to South Carolina, but alas, we do not have any of those. So that's kind of why I ended up buying the irises when I saw them at the store. It was sort of an impulse buy, but also sort of a comfort buy, because I just have such fond memories of all the beautiful irises in the front yard. Checking in on the raised bed. The cilantro is still looking great. If it gets too much warmer, it will bolt pretty soon here, which is a little disappointing because it's finally fluffing out and harvestable. So as soon as I see the first signs of it going to seed, I'm going to chop it all and try out freezing it for salsa when the tomatoes come in. Look at that parsley. Recovering. The time never really did look bad after the freezes. If we walk over to the berry patch, I must say not much has changed. These are still looking alive, but they're not growing super fast. And I do have one raspberry that looks like it's coming back to life, but the rest of them are not, and so I'm not really sure what to make of that. I'll give it maybe a couple more weeks, and if I don't see any new growth from some of those stems, I'll go ahead and reorder some of those bushes. It's a little disappointing, but I got some of them to survive, which is pretty good, I think. And so that is all I have to show you guys today, but I'm so excited to show you how everything's about to change and all the new stuff that's going to go out in the garden. We are getting a lot of new people on the channel, so if you're one of those people who's recently found me because it is springtime and you want to garden, welcome. And to everybody who's been here, you guys have been great. And I know you're going to welcome all the new people in the comments and be kind like you always have been. You guys are great. So I'm excited for spring. I hope you're excited for spring. And I've got a lot of cool videos coming out for you guys. So I will see you again real soon. Until then, happy gardening.